great again. Thank you, Arizona. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
The volatility of the U.S. dollar is a harsh reality. We've seen the stock market come across ramped losses even over the past 20 years. There's a need for an alternate financial strategy. How about gold or silver? Welcome to God's Money. With the PSI security platform, you can build your wealth and secure your future with precious metals that withstand the test of time. Gold and silver are the secrets the wealthy have used to accumulate and protect their wealth for decades. God's Money works with a team of world-class experts to deliver rare, high-quality, unique precious metals at impressive prices. Don't have the money to invest in silver and gold? No problem. Join our Coin of the Month program. With this amazing program, we will send you a little silver on a monthly basis. Consider this opportunity before it's too late. Act now. Go to www.godsmoney.info.
In the far distant land of common sense, a place where we all once lived, you'll find the Conservative College with Professor Toto. It is here where the foundational principles of our great republic are still taught and true patriots are still educated in the hallowed halls of this school of hope. Just like the iconic puppy from The Wizard of Oz, who found great joy in pulling back the curtain on the lies of the wizard, so does Professor Toto. Grab your seats and welcome to the Conservative College. Class begins now.
You better grab a seat right now. Hello, everybody. Grab your bean bags. Tell your neighbors hello, all of your fellow patriots, because class is starting. It's 8 o'clock Central on the beautiful Gulf Coast of Mississippi, just outside of New Orleans. And you are watching the Conservative College from coast to coast and shore to shore. Truth has found you. This is the last place left on earth where conservative patriots, MAGA, red-blooded Americans can find a safe place to speak the truth. This is that place. Good evening to all of you. I am excited to have you in class tonight. So many things we're going to be talking about this evening. And I am feeling so much better. I'm not quite there, still congested as you can hear. But we're going to try again tonight. Never accuse me of not showing up for my duty. We're going to give it our best shot tonight. I'm thankful for all of you that are here. I hope you've had a great day. I hope that no matter what you've went through today, you've survived the storm and you're alive to tell about it. It's a great thing. Amen. Well, let's see. Before we get started, I wanted to give a quick shout out. I got a nice message right before class from Karen LeBlanc. Miss Karen LeBlanc said, I want you to know, Professor Toto, that you are the only one that my husband will watch. He literally loves how you explain things. Well, Mr. LeBlanc, thank you. And Karen, thank you for letting me know. Welcome, Mr. LeBlanc. Welcome, Karen. Thank you for being part of the great Toto's army that stretches from sea to shining sea. We are thankful for people like you. Thank you for watching tonight, and we hope that you will stay with us. Hello from Canada, Guy F. LaJoy and L. Garcia and Angie Begley. Everybody, let's do what Angie Begley said to do. Let's hit those thumbs ups and those likes, and let's get the message out there, shall we? Let's get the message out loud and clear. Let's share, let people know that we're here, and let's get those likes up, those loves up. Hello, Renee from Texas, Elaine from Virginia, good evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, Danny Press and Ricky and Salty Sandy and Marie and J. Call Ball. Hello, Gidge and Bushy and Shelly Rose. Hello, Lady Fish. Hello, Buddy Weiser. So good to see all of you tonight. Oh, by the way, see, I'm trying to talk too much. I'm trying to act like I'm completely healed here, and my voice is trying to cut out on me. We have a winner tonight, a winner of a pure silver Donald Trump coin. A winner. Now, this person won because all they did to win was they went to right there. They clicked on that QR code right there somewhere. Bam. They clicked on that QR code and set up an appointment with us so that we could tell them about gold and silver. That's all they had to do. And we put them in a drawing. And now we do a drawing once a week for a Donald Trump silver coin. And all you have to do is go to godsmoney.info, book an appointment, and let us teach you how to get involved. And before I tell who won, let me see if I can pull up something that came out today on the news. If we can find it, give me 1 second. Well, it's not here. Okay, so I know it's on my Facebook timeline. By the way, if you don't follow us on Facebook, we would love for you to do that. You can look in the description box. All of our social media sites are there. And look, Facebook told me they just blocked me. Let's see what happened. Oh, I'm sorry. They blocked me in 2 countries. Okay. Not America, thank the Lord. Let's see. I wanted to read this article to you if it's still up here while we're talking about gold, because there we go. It just came out today. Very interesting. I mentioned it Tuesday night. Y'all need to pay attention to this because something is happening with gold. Something pretty big is happening with gold. This says that the banks are bracing for the dollar's demise. Citi, which is a bank, by the way, is expecting gold to hit $3,000 an ounce by next year. It's not often that a major bank whose existence depends on selling fiat currency to issue a report exposing the frailty of its main product, Federal Reserve notes. However, according to Wall Street Journal, Citi Research Analysis has done just that. And they're bracing for the fall of the dollar. The banks are. So that's why they are buying gold like crazy. So I highly recommend every one of you needs to be booking an appointment with us. We're the only place in the world you can get gold and silver with no commissions, no markups, no middleman. It's really a no-brainer. We have a winner tonight. I'm going to call your name right now. You are going to get in the mail from Professor Toto a brand new, pure silver Donald Trump coin. And there's no telling what that coin will be worth 10 years from now. It's a collectible coin. And the winner tonight is Mr. George, I believe it's Kopyta, Kopyta. Congratulations, George. You don't have to do anything. Hopefully, Miss Kim Wiley's watching right now like a good Totoite, and we'll get that in the mail to you ASAP. So excited. Congratulations, George. And that last name sounds familiar. I think you've been with us for a good long while. It is my joy to send you this pure silver, God's money, directly to you. Also, an exciting announcement, and I sound horrible. I'm so sorry. I'm congested. I'm doing the best I can tonight. I thought I was all healed. I feel better. I just got to get this out of my head. I have an exciting announcement from the state of Texas. Texas. Our church, First Harvest Ministries, is now building a sister congregation, a sister church, a physical building in Texas. Right now, this is the concrete. They are laying the plumbing, and this is the studs. The walls are being built. We are so very excited. I believe we're going to be in Midland, Texas. Midland, Texas. You will soon have a Sabbath-keeping congregation there in Midland, Texas, and I will be flying back and forth to Midland quite a bit to preach to you. So I'm so very, very, very excited. Congratulations to our very own elder and sister, Cliff Rickman, there in Midland, Texas, who has taken the work and ran with it, and they're building a building. They've already got the baptistry in so that we can have Sabbath services there in Texas. So I'm so very excited, so proud of those two for the work that they are doing. And before we get into tonight's show, I want to remind every one of you the next big event at First Harvest Church in Waveland, Mississippi is the Feast of First Fruits, or Shavuot, also known as the Day of Pentecost. May the 31st through June the 2nd. You need to make plans to be with us. Friday night, Saturday, we're going to be out at the ranch all day Saturday, having a big barbecue out there all day Saturday. And you need to be there with us. I promise you, you will come every year once you come. May the 31st through June the 2nd, we would like for all of you to be there. Well, guess what? Bubblegum Bill Barr. Bubblegum Bill Barr. You know, the man that said that Donald Trump was going to destroy the world. Bubblegum Barr, as I call him. Bubblegum Barr has made a complete about-face, and the left is losing their marbles over this. You got to watch this. I told you so. Never mind. No, I didn't. Not quite there yet. Anyway, I told you so. I told you that every one of them would come back home And that's what's happening right now.
We have another about face from a Trump ally turned critic, harsh critic, very harsh, turned ally again, despite previously warning that a second Trump term would be, quote, chaos.
Chaos.
And let me just say this correctly, a horror show.
You're not saying this.
No, I'm not.
Who's saying this?
Bill Barr.
Bill Barr. That's right. Boy,
Chaos.
He said it'd be a
And
nightmare.
a horror show. A nightmare.
I'm sure he's going to be campaigning for President Biden to try to stop this.
To try and avoid a horror show.
Horror show. Who wants chaos and a horror show in the White House?
Former Attorney General Bill Barr now says he plans to vote for Donald Trump in November.
What?
Given two bad choices, I think it's my duty to pick the person I think would do the least harm to the country. And in my mind, that's I will vote the Republican ticket.
You will.
How's that humble pie tasting, Bubblegum Barr?
Support the Republican ticket. I think the real danger to the country, the real danger to democracy, as I say, is the progressive agenda. And
he's having to digest that pie.
While Trump, and I said, Trump may be playing Russian roulette, but continuation of the Biden administration is national suicide.
And I couldn't agree more. You've got two choices, according to Bubblegum Barr. You've got national suicide or Russian roulette. I'll take my chances with Russian roulette instead of guaranteed suicide. So welcome home, Bubblegum Barr. They're all going to come home, guys, because you and I told them from the very beginning how this was going to turn out. We've been telling them for 3 years. We have never changed our message on the true, legitimate American president. A president that is, in fact, serving 3 terms. Do you know that someone sent me a video, and I've not looked it up yet, but I do know it's the truth because I heard it before and I saw it many years ago. And I will look it up for you. Kim Clement actually prophesied. Now, it almost sounds like a slip of the tongue when he said it, but he said 3 terms. And then he come behind it and said 2 terms. So was God telling us that Trump would serve 3 terms, but it would look like 2 terms? In fact, he has. Donald Trump is a 3-term president. Now, why do I say that? Because if you are America's legitimate president and you've been sent into exile because of tomfoolery, while you're in exile, you're still the president. Let me give you an example. You have a king that's sitting on a throne, and some usurpers come in and momentarily take him off the throne and put him in a dungeon somewhere. He's still the king. Don't you understand? No, he may not be sitting on the throne, but the throne is in him. It's vested in him. So therefore, Donald Trump is still not technically, but principally the American president. And I want to show you evidence of that right now. If you'll look at your screen, here's what you're going to see yesterday at Trump Tower. You're going to see the American president doing what American presidents do, greeting and receiving foreign presidents. Who is that, you ask? That is Duda from Poland. Duda from Poland. And there he is, being welcomed into Trump Tower with the American president, a foreign leader, a dignitary that's normally received at the White House.
This gentleman is doing a fantastic job. The people of Poland love him. They really do. They really love you. And that's not an easy thing to accomplish, but he's done a fantastic job, and he's my friend. And we had 4 great years together. 4 great years. So we may have to do it again. Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate
Mr.
it.
President, what do you want to say to the President of Poland?
So there he is receiving Duda from Poland. But what you may not know is since he's been at the Winter White House, he has also received Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, British Foreign Secretary David Cameron, Argentine President Javier Milei, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban, and yesterday the Prime Minister of Great Britain endorsed him for president. And this guy Duda from Poland is actually building a military base called Fort Trump. That's why he is a 3-term president. Now, why is that? Because anytime God, Yahweh, has his hands on something, you're going to always find his signature. Yahweh's signature is always denoted in the number 7 and the number 12. Those are his signature numbers. 12 is the number of divine government. A 3-term presidency is signed by the number 12. Listen to me. This is the legitimate American president. And everything that has come against him, and we're going to talk about some of that tonight, everything that's come against him is for a purpose. It is for a reason. Because we must restore sanity back to the White House. We must restore sanity in the nation. Let me talk to you about some insanity that we're dealing with right now. Many of you may not know this, but I just bought a bunch of stock in Boeing, you know, the airplane company. Now, I normally would not do that because Boeing is not really considered a day trading type of stock. It's a long-term stock. But I bought it because it's fallen so fast, and I know it's going to come back unless the whole thing crashes. But I want to talk to you about the problems that Boeing is having, and I want to tell you why they're having those problems. You know, parts falling off of airplanes. You know, whistleblowers. Now today in front of the House of Representatives, whistleblowers saying that there's cover-ups at Boeing, what have you and what not. But brothers and sisters, I'm fully convinced that what's happening at Boeing is the chickens coming home to roost. I'm fully convinced the problems at Boeing did not start recently. I believe they are the direct results of the COVID-19 mandates. And I'm going to explain to you why I believe it. So who's really responsible for planes falling apart? Is it Boeing or is it insanity in the White House? See, before COVID-19 happened, the airlines were already having problems hiring enough mechanics and technicians to meet the demands of the airlines. Okay, that's before COVID-19. Then here comes COVID, correct? Travel restrictions are put in place that wreaked havoc on the commercial airlines. And it caused air traffic to plunge 96%. Now, what do you have to do when you decrease passenger volume? Well, you know what you've got to do. You've got to get rid of all of your workers. Now, who are you going to get rid of first? You're not going to get rid of your flunkies first. You're going to offer retirement to your best maintenance personnel. You know, if you're going to go bankrupt, you're struggling for survival, you start giving early retirement packages to experienced people. And then, after they did that, All of a sudden, the pandemic ends, flight volume comes all the way back, and now what do you have? A shortage in aircraft maintenance people with a vengeance. And then the overall level of experience for those responsible for ensuring the safety of these aircrafts. You've gotten rid of your retirement people that's able to look and notice things from experience. At United Airlines alone, more than 2,000 mechanics retired. Ladies and gentlemen, you're not retiring your flunkies, you're retiring your experience. And it would never have happened if the stupid mandates would not have been put into place. American Airlines, Delta, all retired their best mechanics. So that's why I say we have to restore some sanity, because this government has been run with insanity for so long. But we have a little sanity in government that I want to show you that I'm very excited about. And I'm going to have to give props to disloyal DeSantis. I'm going to have to give him props for this one now. He has signed a bill to allow religion back in public schools. The ACLU has already threatened to sue him, but I like what he says here. He says, what we're doing is restoring a sense of purpose that our founding fathers wanted to see in education. And that is so true, ladies and gentlemen. Without religion, we have no purpose in this life. When you lose purpose, you lose passion. When you lose passion, then you lose your drive to succeed. You lose the things you need to be a good man, a good husband, a good wife. But a rounded education will give you all of that. So thank you, Governor Disloyal. You did very good on that. And Toto gives you your props. All right. We have a jury. We have a jury fully impaneled in New York City. Many of you are worried about New York, but I've come to tell you tonight that the New York trial is a miracle. The New York trial is a miracle. And I'm about to tell you why. Before I do, let me give you the facts of the case. We have a full jury of 12 people seated today in the People versus Trump criminal trial in New York City, where Alvin, with nothing to brag about, has charged President Donald Trump with 34 counts of falsifying business records. 34, huh? 3 plus 4 equals what? Got it. Thank you, Lord. All right. Now, the attorneys, they went through all 96 persons, and now they're just getting their alternate jurors, and they should be ready to go on Monday with the first criminal trial in American history of a U.S. president. Opening statements are scheduled for Monday, and court will adjourn at 2 o'clock that day to accommodate the Jews in New York that will be celebrating Passover. I want to ask you all a question, and I'm going to explain to you in detail tonight the whole New York case. So get your pen, get everything ready so you can be educated, so you can know the truth, so no one can mess with your head on this. You're going to get all the details tonight of the New York case. If I write a check to an attorney, for example, our ministry has an attorney, and he is working on all of our permits and our code enforcement and for the land that we bought where we're building the new church and the tabernacle and all of that. We have an attorney that does all that work for us. One of the best attorneys in Mississippi. Anyway, if I write that attorney a check, am I going to categorize that as religious work or legal fees? How am I going to categorize that? How am I going to categorize that? How would you categorize that? Oh, thank you, Gino Lawless. Y'all, I am right now number 1, 2, 3, 4 in all of the live streaming on Rumble right now, just behind InfoWars, Newsmax. I'm right behind Newsmax tonight. Yay, wonderful. Thank you for that great news, Brother Gino Lawless. Thank you. All right, not bad. InfoWars has 6,000 viewers on Rumble right now. Newsmax has 2. Guys, Professor Toto has as many viewers as Newsmax on Rumble. Can I just stop and thank Yahweh for that? Because it's surely nothing I've done. I give him all the glory. Thank you, Father. Wow, number 4. That's a first, so I'm sorry. I'm celebrating a little bit. Thank you, Brother Gino. That is marvelously wonderful. And thank you all for hitting that like button. See what happens when you hit it? They push us on up the ladder. All right. So if you write a check, are you going to put it under legal expenses? Let me see what you're saying. Let me see your responses. Legal or religious? Legal or religious? What are you going to do? Legal or religious? I don't see no answers. Where are y'all at? There we go. Teresa Fogelman would file it under legal fees. Thank you, Minister Deborah Betts. Yes, I'm a little excited tonight. That's wonderful. Elaine Harmon would file it under legal. Elizabeth Brody and Venice Roberson would file it under legal. So would Brenda and Ruth Rosario. And Jessica Newell. Hey, Jessica. And Claudine. And Joseph Bevanetto. And Denise Whitaker. Eric Chipman. They would all file it under legal expenses. Okay, of course they would. Because that's what all humans would do. Now, Tony Madd would file it under religion. Melissa Mitten, legal. Sandy, legal. Lorraine, legal. Goober, legal. Luis Perez, legal. Sky RN, legal. Rachel Doss, legal. Victory Bell. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump wrote a check to a lawyer, his lawyer. He categorized that. No, he didn't categorize it under prostitution. He didn't categorize it under play money. He didn't categorize it under trying to protect my family from this vicious junk. He filed it under legal. That's his crime. That is what your president is in court for right now, simply filing that check as legal instead of kitty cat money. He put it under legal. Now, John Shue is a constitutional expert that teaches constitutional law. He said, if I was teaching about this case, I would use it as an example of an overzealous prosecutor improperly dividing a single misdemeanor. Remember that word misdemeanor. I'm coming back to it. Into multiple charges and then turning them into felonies by purporting to enforce federal campaign finance laws when the Justice Department had already declined the case. That's what this expert said if he was teaching a class that he would teach it as. But have no fear, MAGA. The New York case is a miracle. And here's why. Out of all of the 5 legal attacks against President Trump, The fact that this one has come first, it's the only one that will get handled before the election. The fact that it was this one and not the others is a miracle. Because in fact, this, if he's not found not guilty, it will be dropped probably to a misdemeanor, because in fact, this is the least consequential of all of his charges. So in other words, if you had to go for any of these cases, this is the one you would want to go. And now, this one was not supposed to be first. Granny Fanny was supposed to be first. Fulton Fanny and Jack Smith, those are all big stuff, right? But this one was not supposed to go first. It is the least consequential of them all. The ones he's facing in Washington, Georgia, and Florida are all going to happen after the election now. That's why I tell you this one is a miracle. This one literally it's a Class E felony. There is nothing, it is a nothing burger. Okay? He's going to get more punishment. He got more punishment with East Jungle Carol than he is with this. He had to pay real money for that. And here's the thing you need to understand. Next week is when President Trump's immunity hearings will begin to process in the Supreme Court. They asked this judge to hold off until we hear about the immunity, because there's a possibility, more than a possibility, if they go by the law, Trump can't even be prosecuted for any of this stuff. But this judge would not wait. So what happens whenever they come back and say he's immune from prosecution? Then all of this was in vain. It'll never hold up. Let me explain to you why this is a miracle. Because President Trump, if the Supreme Court rules that he is immune from prosecution, all the other big cases go away immediately. And then everything he's going through right now, I'm trying to encourage you tonight to chill. Chillax. This is a miracle. When it gets its worst, as my wife always says, is when it's about to get its best. Thank God for this New York trial. It's slowing down all the big stuff. I want to explain to you what Braggs is doing so you know the facts about this case. He's charging President Trump under a law that allows the prosecutor to elevate the count from misdemeanors to felonies. In other words, at the end of the day, guys, this is a misdemeanor. It equates to a driving ticket. It's a misdemeanor. This quote unquote crime is a misdemeanor. All right? But they went under a law that allows Bragg to enhance it to a felony. But there's one caveat. Only if the misdemeanor was conducted to conceal another crime. And that's where the devil is in the details. Bragg has a job to do now, and it's not going to be easy. Whenever he indicted President Trump, he never mentioned the other crime that President Trump was covering up. To this day, it's the mystery meat. Nobody knows what so-called crime Trump was covering up. Don't you understand? This is all election interference. This is a nothing burger. According to Bragg, the charge came over $130,000 payment made by Michael Cohen to Horseface. I'm sorry, y'all don't like me calling people's names. Anyway, the money came from a $420,000 from the Trump organization. Listen, the Trump organization paid Michael Cohen $420,000 in checks every month for his legal work. In that $420,000 was the $130,000, meaning Cohen, his money was $290,000. The other $130,000 is given to him as the esquire to pay off Horse Lady. Now, this case is not going to be near as easy as y'all are fearing. I know you're worried about the jury, but this prosecutor has a heavy burden. This prosecutor has to convince 12 people unanimously that President Trump not only miscategorized the $130,000, but he has to prove that he did so with the intent of hiding another crime. And no one knows what that crime is. Now, here's the burden. When President Trump testifies, which I hope he don't, and I'll tell you why in a minute, or when his lawyers present the fact that President Trump made the payment to prevent his wife and family from being embarrassed, who is going to prove that that was not his intent? That's not a crime. For there to be a crime, we've got to cover up another crime. But if President Trump made that payment to save his family from embarrassment, that's not a crime. And now Bragg's, I'm trying to tell you the level of burden he's going to have to prove to 12 people. And listen, New York City is not like Washington, D.C. There is no way to get a fair jury in Washington, D.C. But New York is filled with Republicans. All right? So it's not quite the same. Have no fear. Braggs has to prove that Trump was not trying to protect his family. And that's not going to be easy to do. That's why I say the New York case is a miracle. I don't want President Trump to take the stand because Braggs would love an opportunity to charge President Trump with perjury, just like he did Allen Weisselberg. In other words, he would love to get him up there and question him and catch him in what he calls a lie and then charge him with perjury. That's why I hope Trump doesn't testify. Sir, take your right to silence. It's there for a reason. And here's the next thing that will probably happen. The jury has all the power in the world to come back and reduce this back down to a misdemeanor and find him guilty of a misdemeanor. Now, if Trump testifies, he's going to deny having sex with Daniels. He's going to say he paid Daniels to save his family from embarrassment of what she might say about him. And listen, I know where he's coming from. People say, well, if you're not guilty, you ought not pay him. You don't know, darling. In the world we live in now, it's cheaper to pay them off than to deal with them. It's cheaper to shut down the voices so that you can get on with life. So if that's his defense, it's got to be reduced back to a misdemeanor. If that man testifies to that, or if his lawyers can convince one juror that he was doing it to protect his wife, it's a misdemeanor automatically. Because the only way it's a felony is what, class? What? He had to conceal another crime. And look, how's this jury going to look at the two main witnesses? A porn actress and a man that admitted he lied to Congress, Michael Cohen. I mean, come on. Cohen's credibility is going to be imminently attacked in front of this jury. He's going to be cross-examined, picked apart. He's been to federal prison. He's been on multiple media outlets condemning the president. He's got a personal vendetta. I don't believe this jury will convict President Trump. I woke up the other night with the words "not guilty" in my mind, and I've been praying it ever since. Now, why do the Democrats, they don't care if this, they don't. All they want is a conviction because they've got a few polls that tell them that, oh, if he gets convicted, you know, the independents are not going to vote for him. That's not true. At all. At all. This is Teflon Don, guys. Mr. Ramani said President Trump seems to be immune and the normal rules don't apply to him. Anyone else, even if there was an indictment, they would have to resign from the presidential race. But Trump just gets more strength. It's truly fascinating. Any other person running for president that was to get indicted of a crime wouldn't last a day on the campaign trail. Trump's been arrested, mugshots, and all he does is get stronger and stronger. Because just like Samson, Delilah, you don't know where his strength lies. I do. That's why I support the man. Right now, the polls have Trump beating Biden in the general election. And look, if you think a guilty conviction is going to change the minds of the electorate, you're wrong. Trump's reputation is already set. This trial's not going to change things, even if he is convicted. There's be a mistrial or a misdemeanor or not guilty. That's where we're headed with this. And brothers, if we get any of those, if we get a mistrial, if we get a not guilty or a misdemeanor, Trump's poll numbers are going to go through the roof because the whole nation is going to see this for what it was. A conviction's not going to change opinions about his character. Everybody's already made up their mind who they're voting for. Don't believe this junk that there's all these independents out there waiting to see how this is going to turn out. Just not true. Guys, I'm sorry to play a commercial on you, but I need to get a drink of water and try to get my voice back so I can go into my monologue tonight. But trust me, New York, that trial there, it's a miracle. I'll be right back.
When you spend your money at these mega corporations, where it's going, are you aware that your hard-earned money is being used to support political corruption, which leads to poor federal leadership, hurting our economy, contributing to the overall detriment of our society? This is heavy stuff to think about, I know, but it's time we fought back. Introducing Professor Toto's The Patriots Buying Club. Here, we are a club that gives you the power to invest in companies that uphold patriotic and conservative values your family can respect. Rather than spending your money with these major corporations, we've partnered with a direct consumer company that offers over 400 high-quality, sustainable, and effective products that can be delivered fast directly to your front door. So many patriots across America has joined us in this walkaway movement. Now it's your turn. Go to www.buybywalmart.com to join Professor Toto's The Patriots Buying Club today.
Live in Chicago with more details on this disturbing movement. Garrett.
Yeah, Emily, this is not just any crowd. This was a group of around 300 people from pro-Palestinian and anti-war groups across the country who came to Chicago to work on plans for disrupting the Democratic National Convention less than 4 months from now. And you saw how the crowd reacted when organizers announced the news of Iran's attacks. But even before that, during a breakout session, one organizer taught attendees how to chant "Death to Israel" in Farsi. And the enthusiastic crowd then took it a step further, calling for chants of death to America.
So I'm going to teach you a chant in Persian that you can use if you ever encounter those Zionist freaks. So you're going to say, Marg Barr. Marg Barr. Marg Barr Israel. 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 It has two meanings, depending on who you ask. It can mean death to or down with. So can we get a Marg Bar America? We can get a Marg Bar America. Yes, we can. Marg Bar America. Marg Bar America. Marg Bar America. Marg Bar America.
Organizers also argued that President Biden is feeling the pressure as a result of their efforts and said they plan to make sure Biden and the entire Democratic Party hears them during the week of the convention.
We will all shout the slogan at Genocide Joe and his fellow war criminals and those cowards. From within sight and sound of the United Center. From the river to the sea. From the river to the sea. Palestine will be free. Palestine will be free.
And following this weekend's conference this morning, we got a bit of a preview of some of what we could see during the convention as pro-Palestinian protesters blocked off the highway entrance to O'Hare International Airport, bringing traffic to a standstill and forcing some passengers to get out and walk along the highway to their terminals just in order to make their flights. Emily?
I have to say something. He was teaching that to Americans, American people. By the way, it seems there's breaking news right now. I cannot confirm it, but it looks like Israel, it's being reported by, let me make sure this is before I say this. Daily Wire is reporting that Israel has launched an attack on Iran. I cannot confirm that right now, but things are getting heated up out there, folks. By the way, I want to just stop and thank God, the Almighty Yahweh. I just looked. Now, this doesn't count 2020 when I had 30 and 40,000 viewers every night. But since the lull, when people started losing interest, we have just broke an all-time attendance record on the Toto. Not all time, but you get what I'm talking about. Right now, I just looked on Roku. We just broke through to 11,000 viewers on Roku, and then combined with Rumble and all four, we just broke a Rumble record. Thank you, Father. And now we've just broken a Facebook record, and so now we are on all four: Professor Toto, Bishop Vaughn, the Conservative College, Shane Vaughn, all of those pages on Facebook, 8,000 on top of the others. So we just broke a record. I don't know what's going on out there tonight, but if it's the blessings of the Lord, I'll take them. Hallelujah. Thank you all for being with us. We always try to give you the truth. I want to talk about this video I just showed you, Death to America. See, this is what happens when you bring the enemy in your camp. God told Israel not to let them in their camp because they would take over. And this is what's happening. We have a news story here that I want to read to you. And then I want to comment on it. This is a House resolution condemning From the River to the Sea as anti-Semitic. It passed with 44 people opposed to it. Now, of those 44 people, there was one Republican, Anthony D'Esposito from New York. He's the only one that voted against naming this anti-Semitic. Now, I have to tell you, when I first saw that he was the only member of the GOP that would not vote in favor of that, I'm going to confess to you that I said at that moment, that would have been me. Because I believe in freedom of speech. And I said to myself, good job, sir. You stood for freedom of speech, because chanting death from the river to the sea is not it's free speech. And we can't be for free speech for us, but not for them. However, you know your humble, neighborhood-friendly professor is going to begin to do his research. And I did. I want to talk to you tonight about freedom of speech and where I stand on the issue, okay? We must protect free speech at all cost. At all cost. But chanting death to America is in fact not free speech. And I'm so glad I've done my research on this, because when you say death to America, here's what you're saying. Kill them all. Kill the president. Kill the, and guess what is a federal crime? To threaten the life of the American president. Death to America. Who is the titular head of America? It is the American president. You see, free speech only works with common sense. There are 5 things that you do not have free speech in. Number 1, you know you cannot yell fire in a public place where there is no fire. But also making death threats to the president or making death threats to anyone is not free speech. Now you are becoming a nuisance to society. Defamation is not allowed, which is spreading lies that damage someone's reputation and then encouraging someone to commit suicide. That's your limitations. And in fact, this is a threat to every American, and every one of them should be arrested today. Everyone in the... Why are they not arrested? Why are they not arrested for threatening to kill Americans? That's not freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is anything you want to say, no matter how much we like it or don't like it, if it harm none, as long as it's not harming anyone, then you go right ahead. But this is an act of terrorism. You are threatening death to America. And listen, if we're going to vilify and create laws for hate speech against homosexuals, that's going to be a crime for even preachers to preach against it. It's going to be a crime. How is this not a crime? And why is every one of them not arrested? Now, I struggled with this because I believe in free speech. And we're going to talk tonight about free speech. However, that's not free speech. That is death threats to every American, even the American president, which is a federal crime. Everyone chanting that should be arrested for threatening the American president. Thank you, Benita Peterson. Thank you. So glad to have you with me tonight. I want to show you the hypocrisy, guys. If you misgender some dumb, confused person, that's a crime. Speech. 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 But if you chant death to America, now you can go burn a flag. That's fine. Of course, it's not fine, but you're not threatening to harm anyone in particular. God, I hate to see them burn a flag, but I'm trying to give you the truth here. Okay? Fox has now confirmed that Israel has attacked Iran. Ruh-roh. Even so, come, Yeshua. You have a people that's watching and waiting for you. Hello, Jacob. Bill from New Jersey. Good to have you back with us tonight. Thank you so much. Also, it is a federal... We're now in treason. This is treason. Because what is treason? Giving aid and comfort to the enemy. That phrase, from the river to the sea, comes from our enemy, Hamas. And now you are aiding them by propagating their mantra and teaching it to our people. I'm furious tonight. I believe everyone in that video, easily identifiable, by the way, they're all in the video. Why are they not in a jail cell tonight? Sapper Havoc, good to have you tonight. Now Newsmax is verifying that story. Hello, Elizabeth. You know, I don't like them burning flags either, but that is not hate. You know, that's not a death threat to us unless they're screaming death to America when they do it. Now, while we're on this subject, I want to continue for a few minutes on this idea of freedom of speech. And I want to talk about the future of the Professor Toto show. My original purpose here was to support President Trump, to declare every night, as I have done thousands of nights now, I've stood at this or sat at this microphone and told you the truth. Never had to hide from any of you. Told you the truth, what would happen, and we've been right every step of the way. And so in the back of my mind, I realize we're down to the last 6 months of what I believe is my duty as Professor Toto. And so I've been having this glorious image in my mind of retiring Professor Toto, so I can get back to my ministry full time. So I've done a lot of thinking about this, and I want to give you my line of thinking tonight. America, at one time, we had a fiercely independent media. And it was not just the hallmark of our liberty, but it was the guardian that kept our society free. And when I look at the Professor Toto class, I see it as more than just a podcast. I see it as an arbiter of truth. And our mainstream press has abandoned their post of bringing us the balanced truth, leaving us vulnerable as we move towards the most important election in generations, if not history. The Supreme Court was so worried about freedom of speech that they just had a hearing on the administration of Joe Biden manipulating Twitter, Facebook, and all the others. And we're waiting on the outcome of that. But we've learned a bitter lesson. And here's the lesson, ladies and gentlemen. Tune in now. The Constitution, in all of its brilliance, does not protect us from repression that grows in our government. Because if it's growing in our culture, it's going to take over our government. Free speech is gone in the mainstream media. It relies on not just the Constitution. The Constitution is a dead letter. It has no army of its own. It has no power of its own. It relies on a social agreement between us all and a moral framework of truth. And that moral framework is collapsing in all parts of our society. Our mainstream media has been surrendering its freedom for years to the government. The process started. How did it all start? Long ago. It started when publishers and editors discovered a gold mine in obsessing over celebrity news, celebrity heroes. And then it accelerated when they found that a celebrity villain offered the same rewards as reporting the news, if not more. They learned to favor sensation over substance. And that's where you come to Professor Toto. I'll repeat it. The mainstream media has favored sensation over substance. They have an audience that is dumb because they have dumbed them down. Whereas here, we teach you every time we come here the foundational undertaking that this nation must have. We keep that truth alive. And I'm going to be honest with you. I do not hear the same stuff that you hear here on any other podcast. Yes, I hear Trumpism. But we go deeper than Trumpism. We get to the fundamental roots of the republic here, and we teach you those truths. But the mainstream media, they've replaced that substance with sensationalism. They choose their villains and their heroes, off-color remarks, over-the-top celebrity news becomes more important than any substantive dialogue about policy or things such as the republic versus democracy. Are you for real? The people that watch MSM don't even know what I'm talking about. The substance of the conversation is gone. I mean, why worry about terrorists infiltrating our nation when we can talk about things that will prick sensationalism? They've dumbed down their readers. They keep entertaining their shallow audience. So Professor Toto's audience is not shallow. If you stick here for an hour twice a week, you're going to leave here with the deep recesses of your mind coagulating around a network of thoughts that begin to make sense for you. You cannot get that on the mainstream media, and I dare say on many of the podcasts. They are teaching their shallow audience that political engagement has nothing to do with liberty or constitutional government. They just get them to hate their favorite villain of the week. Right now, Their favorite villain is Trump. A few weeks ago, it was Mike Lindell. A few weeks before that, it was Rudy Giuliani. All they need to do is get people to hate this week's villain. And now they can run that the whole week. The celebrity fixation requires hyperbole. It requires news anchors that now take sides rather than just goes to the news itself. The legacy media, everything they do is crumbling. Why? Because people are waking up. They're not woke, they're awake. And there's nowhere for them to go. Even in the world of podcasting. They go find a podcaster that tells them the latest intel or what have you, but they don't find substance there either. No substance. No building up the ruins of the republic. No teaching you how to think as a true Republican, an original one. No one teaching you how God works in the nations. And so therefore, this arrival of this awakened culture that's happening because of Donald Trump is sending people on a search for people like Professor Toto. And therefore, I've come to the conclusion that truth and the need for it does not end when Donald Trump is sworn into office. And then the modern news media, every single one of them, here's their motto now. As long as I shout loud enough, my ignorance becomes better than your knowledge. Should I repeat that? I think I should. In today's news, here's where we are. As long as I shout loud enough, then my ignorance will become better than your knowledge. You see, there was a journalist by the name of Chet Huntley. They don't make them like that anymore. He said journalists were never intended to be cheerleaders of our society or the conductors of applause. That's a circus. But they were to be the observers and the reporters of the news. And Chet Huntley went on to say, that is their assigned role. Huntley would have a different view of American journalism if he were alive today. The natural curiosity that once drove reporters to find the truth, to counter repression, has shriveled up and died. It's gone, except in these podcasts. Government is not going to fix the problem. I want to explain that now. We have a problem, but government's not going to fix it at all. They cannot fix it when they are the problem. Without freedom of the press, there is no freedom. Without freedom, there is no republic. My voice, along with others of my colleagues, I believe my voice is among, just like Rush Limbaugh and many others. We are the last bastion and hope of a free republic. When our voices disappear, when my voice disappears, you will be left with sensationalism on the left and the right. Therefore, Professor Toto is more than a man. Professor Toto is a voice. And the government's not going to fix the problem because they have no principles. They bend to the woke wind. The social compact that you and I have, those of you watching me right now, we have a compact to be a protector of truth, and that only can be done by us. It's up to me and you to preserve it. Freedom of speech, the protection of truth. Did you know that over half of our population, maybe you'll take comfort in this, shuns the popular culture and its woke underpinnings? They're looking for truth. Did you know that? However, I must awaken you now. Well, if that's a fact, Professor Toto, if over half the population is not supporting the popular culture, we have nothing to worry about. Wrong. Because that part of the population is the quiet ones among us. But did you know that less than half of the German people were Nazis? Did you know that less than half of Russians were communists? Did you know this? But that did not stop the rise of Hitler and Stalin. Why? Because the other group that was even greater in number than those few, they were the silent majority. They were so proud to be called the silent majority. God has called me to call you to not make the same mistake. Find the truth. The Bible says, buy the truth and sell it not. You better become a lover of truth. I'm not talking about strange, black holes in outer space. I'm talking about fundamental truth of America and the Word of God. And it is because there is a famine of it in our land today. There is a famine of it in our land today. Now is the time, ladies and gentlemen, to speak out, to quit shrugging off the repression. Quit being afraid to tell the truth. If a boy tells you he's a girl, you can say, no, you're not. Quit being afraid to stand for truth. You are all that's left. The government has failed. The government will not do it. You and I, and voices like mine, are the last voices of truth. Now is the time to reject the repressive vocabulary of this new world and to mock those that mock us. Now's the time to speak truth for freedom. See, a lot of you get upset at me when I call people names or but you don't understand. I am speaking back to their mockery. That's correct. There must be voices that speaks back and says, no, just because you say it does not make it true. The existence of the silent majority is no longer a comfort when the silence means the defeat of truth and mute acceptance of tyranny by government. To continue the silence is moral surrender. And that's why I have determined I cannot contribute to the silence. I will continue this podcast after President Trump returns to office, because the battle for truth does not end with Donald Trump. Every one of you, Toto's Army, you must become defenders of truth. But you cannot defend truth till you know the truth. You must find the truth and declare the truth. You must move and find out that if you know the truth, you'll be okay. I want to give you an example before I go tonight. I've dealt with a situation for 2 to 3 years now. Some people that terrorized me on Facebook night and day. They fight us night and day, terrorizing our people, trying to friend request all of my followers, sending out horrible things about me personally. seducing you into groups by putting my picture up there like it's my group, and then you join, and only to see this from former members and different people that have decided to become tyrants and bullies. And I have remained quiet and silent for 2 to 3 years. Maybe this is why God's given me my largest audience tonight, because I want to prove a point to you. I go by 3 rules. Never engage, never respond, and never get distracted. When your enemies begin to attack you, if you know the truth, and if you know you're standing in truth, you can hear everything they're saying about you. And people might want you to respond. Don't fall for it. Because those that hate you are not interested in truth. They just want to see you fall. That's it. And those people, you'll never convince them of the truth. So you can talk. You can defend yourself. You can show evidence, and then it'll just be something else. So I learned years ago, never engage, never respond, never get distracted. Here's why. Your moment will come when truth will defend you. You don't have to defend yourself. This is how powerful truth is. So that moment happened for us, me, yesterday. We were made aware that all of the neighbors on our street, their mailboxes had been opened, and horrible things about us and our church had been placed in people's mailboxes, including our own. And immediately I knew that that was a crime. You don't open mailboxes. That's a federal crime. And sure enough, I began to do my research, as Professor Toto always does. There's a federal law that makes it a crime for anyone to access a mailbox, except for an official Postal Service employee or the owner of the mailbox. And what is that federal law? Here it is right here. It's the mailbox restriction law. It was adopted in 1934 to stop people from delivering unstamped letters. And there is the section and the federal law that these enemies violated yesterday. And we have already made a phone call. I'll be going in the morning to do what needs to be done legally. Now, I'm saying all that to say this to you. If you'll stay quiet long enough, truth will always, truth may be a long time coming, but when it comes, it does not take long. I encourage every one of you tonight, all of you patriots, get more educated than you've ever been. Quit chasing these boondoggle. Get educated. Let me show you. Hold on. I'll show you what you need to get educated in. Hold on. I'll be right back. You need to get educated in the Republic. You see these 3 books? I read them night and day. Night and day about my Republic. And then if I was to turn the camera, I have 3 bookcases full of books about America. Why? Because no matter who I debate, I'm coming with truth, and you will not be able to stop me. It's the same way in the Word of God. I spend night and day studying the doctrines of our church so that I can be standing in the truth. When you know the truth, you become an army unto yourself, because truth defends you. Truth will stand for you. It's just like about a month ago when our local city here tried to deny us, our church, a discount for the community building because we did not have a 501c3. And no true church should have one. We will never have one. I've never had one and never will. It's the mark of the beast. I would never have it, ever, under the control of the state, putting God's holy church under the control of the beast system. I would never. So we go to rent the community center for our church. And if you're a church, you get 50% off the price, which is like $1,000 difference. My secretary was there with me, and they told her, nope, you got to pay full price since you don't have a 501c3. Well, I sent her a letter the next day, the lady at the city hall, with all of the laws, and warning her that she was putting the city in a litigious situation. Learn those words, those two words, litigious situation. It'll help you a lot. No one wants to be in a litigious situation. I'm telling you, we got an email from the mayor the next day. Said, oh, then don't worry, you don't need a 501c3. But why? It's not because I wanted to be hard to deal with, but I know the truth. And that truth must have a voice. Truth must be spoken. Truth must be said. There is power in your words. That is why I'm not going to leave this microphone as Professor Toto. There is power in your words. God spoke and said, let there be light, and there was. When truth is spoken, it dispels lies and darkness. It has a life of its own. God spoke and formed everything, and you are made in his very image. He is looking for an army of people that will speak the truth. He told you, speak to the mountain. There is something in speaking. So why am I staying on as Professor Toto? I've made the decision because of this microphone. I'm going to speak into the atmosphere the truth. I'm going to let it find those that love the truth. And together we will lift up our voices as Toto's army in truth. We will always have a place in the republic because we are going to help restore the republic. So the Professor Toto show will continue as long as truth is needed. And then Tuesday night, remember tonight I was supposed to tell you about a platform? Well, I was not able to pull it all together. The person that was supposed to be here, we have some conflicts we have to resolve. They'll be here Tuesday. There's about to be a platform where possibly hundreds of thousands are going to hear this truth. I want you to hear me before I say good night. When you speak truth, you have entered into a war. And only the strong survive. These last 4 years have been some of the hardest years of my life. I have stood for truth. And yet it's been the most blessed years of my life. If you're willing to go into the battle for God, if you're willing to go into the battle for America, I give you my word. When you come out of the fire, you won't even smell like smoke. Thank you for watching. Good night. God bless America. Land that I love, stand beside her and guide her. Somebody lay hands on it. Through the night with a light from above, from the mountain to the prairie, to the ocean, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless you. Good night. God bless America. My home, sweet home. Hallelujah. Good night. God bless you. Good night.